The Galaxy Council meeting started like any other. In a chamber of glass and light, representatives from 100 worlds gathered. Voices echoed in a dozen languages, translations whispered by smooth machines. Some joked, some debated trade routes. Others simply waited for the usual boredom to pass, and then the lights dimmed. Not all the way, just a flicker, enough to feel wrong. A technician checked his system. "It's not from us," he said. A pause. Then a message appeared on the central screen. No signature, no encryption, just a simple, calm voice. "You wanted peace your way. Now, you'll have silence our way." No one spoke. The voice was human. The silence that followed was sharp, heavier than fear. It had been decades since a human transmission was heard in the council. Most assumed they were finished, scattered, lost, quiet, but not like this. This message wasn't a plea. It was a promise. Councillor Dreth, representing the Andari Corps, stood slowly. His scales shimmered with cold light. "This must be a trick," he said. Councillor Raal from the YX Confederacy tapped her console. "No trick. The transmission is real. Origin, edge of Sector 7B, human space." No one moved. A screen lit up again. This time, an image. A fleet. Black ships. Countless. Not active. Not moving. Just present. Waiting like shadows in the dark. No power signatures. No weapon locks. No signals. They just sat in orbit around the empty border of Council territory. "What are they doing?" someone whispered. "Nothing," Raal said. "Yet," Dreth hissed. "Get them off our screens. Contact Earth. Demand an explanation." But Earth didn't answer. Not directly. What came instead was older. A flashback buried in the Council's secure archives. 30 years ago, a small blue-green world. Not Earth, but one of its last colonies. New Thessaly. Peaceful. Quiet. A farming world. No weapons. No defenses. The Council had shut it down. They called it a security risk. Said humans were becoming too distant, too unpredictable. The vote passed in secret. 10 hours later, Council fleets arrived. The colony didn't fight. They just begged for time to evacuate. They got 4 hours. No one survived. The footage showed a woman holding a child, both looking up as Council ships rained fire from above. Before the flames reached her, the woman smiled. That was the last image, the last smile. After that, humanity vanished. Now they were back. In the Council chamber, alarms began to buzz softly. The human fleet had moved, not forward, just shifted. Closer. Still no weapons active. Still no messages. Then a pulse signal came from the largest ship, translated into every language at once. Judgment begins in 8 days. No explanation, just a timer. 0, 07, 23, 59, 59. 0, 07, 23, 59, 58. 0, 07, 23, 59, 57, and counting. Some delegates demanded military action. Others screamed for peace talks. A few just stared at the timer, as if trying to stop it by will alone. "Send a diplomatic envoy," Raal said. "They won't respond," Dreth snapped. "Then why the timer?" another asked. "Why the warning at all?" Arian, the Council's oldest member, raised his hand. Silence followed. "We always feared their anger," he said, "but we never feared their silence. That was our mistake." The screen flashed again. This time, a face. Human. Pale. Eyes hard. No emotion. A single line spoken. "We waited. We asked. We listened. You smiled and burned our homes. Now, we smiled too." The image vanished. No one knew what to do. The Council adjourned in chaos. In the dark corner of the galaxy, the human fleet waited. No demands, no threats, just the slow, steady tick of time, counting down to something no one understood. Yet, the Council chamber was filled with panic. Voices rose, claws, slammed on desks, wings fluttered, lights blinked red across the ceiling as emergency protocols activated. No one listened to each other. Everyone spoke at once. They were weak. "Why are they threatening us now?" one delegate shouted, his tentacles shaking. Councillor Dreth snarled back, "Then go ask them yourself." The room quieted. No one volunteered. Screens still showed the human fleet, silent, unmoving, endless. Just beyond council borders, but close enough to see, close enough to strike. And still, the timer ticked. 6, 9, 11, 22, 006, 14, 11, 21, 006, 14, 11, 20. They were halfway through the 8 days, and no one knew what would happen when the timer reached 0. An old image flickered across one screen, forgotten in a corner. A human. Young. Dressed in Earth's diplomatic uniform. Standing in a council hall 30 years ago, hands behind his back, voice calm. "My people ask only for a future," he had said. His words were met with laughter. Councillor Yven from the Trask Unity leaned forward on his chair in the old footage. "You are a primitive race. You know nothing of peace. You will destroy yourselves before we need to." The young ambassador didn't argue. He only nodded. That was the last time Earth sent anyone to speak. Now the same delegate who once mocked him was hiding behind council. "Security walls, voice trembling. Contact them," someone said. "Negotiate," said another. "Beg," whispered someone else, but the humans were not answering. Still, the council had to try. They voted, barely, and sent a peace envoy, 5 ships, unarmed, bearing white banners and a formal apology. The ships crossed the border. Everyone waited. Hours passed, then days. No response, no signal, just silence. The fleet didn't fire. It didn't move, but the peace ships never returned. One delegate asked, "Maybe they're being held?" Another said, "Maybe they were allowed to land and talks are happening." But they all knew the truth. They were gone. In the back of the chamber, a visitor sat in silence. He wasn't a delegate, not anymore. He had once been a scientist. His name was Alvin Drow. He had studied humans longer than anyone else in the Council's history. He stood. His voice cut through the chaos. "You didn't destroy them," he said, quiet but sharp. "You gave them a reason." The room stilled. Humans needed a cause. You gave them pain, shame, silence, and then you erased their last colony, like dust. But they didn't vanish. They prepared. Dreth growled. "Prepared for what?" Drow's eyes were tired. "For this." A buzzer sounded. New reports flooded in. Power loss. Sector 3, Planet Harath, a major council world. 12 billion lives. Suddenly, their entire grid was gone. No communication, no satellites, no defense systems, just black. In space above the planet, a single line of code appeared in orbit, broadcast on every visible screen. Then the sky itself changed. Clouds twisted into shapes. Satellites flickered and glowed, like fireflies forming letters. Every creature on the surface looked up and saw it. That was just a whisper. The message faded slowly, like smoke in wind. The council didn't call another meeting. They sat in silence and waited for the next whisper. The council's skies were no longer safe. It started small, just a blink in a long-range scanner, a delay in communication relays, flickers in hologram feeds. At first, no one noticed. Then the defense satellites above 4 outer rim planets dropped offline, all within 5 minutes. No weapons were fired, no explosions, no enemy ships in range. Only one thing appeared on every blacked-out screen. White text, one word, HELLO, Counselor. Dreth smashed his desk. What kind of threat is this? Is it a message? A code? A joke? Council AI systems ran diagnostics at full speed. They found no viruses, no code injections, no sabotage. Everything was normal. Except nothing worked. The Council's central AI advisor, named Vexa, began stuttering. Error, unknown breach point. Origin, uncertain. Signature shows, human pattern. 50 years more advanced than current Council technology. Silence followed. 50? Someone asked. That's impossible. No, came a voice from the corner. Alvin Drow again, the former scientist. It's not. Not if they use the Black Archive. Most in the chamber stared in confusion, but a few older counselors froze. That was a myth, Dreth muttered. No, Drow said. It was real. A secret Earth research vault. Banned science. Forbidden ideas. Some of it thousands of years ahead. Stored underground after Earth's final treaty with the Council. But after the New Thessaly incident, I think they stopped locking it away. Councillor Raal leaned forward. You're saying this is technology from the archive? No, Drow said. Worse. This is someone who read everything in it and learned how to make it quiet. The lights dimmed again. Another satellite. Grid collapsed. Then a planetary shield field fell without warning. Civilian systems failed. Trade lanes crashed. Hospital AIs began looping into silence. No one died, yet. But no one felt safe anymore. Every trace, every line of malfunction ended in the same digital whisper. HELLO. No threats. No demands. Just the sound of someone knocking on the galaxies. Front door. Behind the attacks was a name, shared in shadow circles and deep-coded whispers. The quiet ones, a human hacker team. Unconfirmed. Invisible. No known faces. No call signs, no leaks. They were the kind of ghosts who left no footsteps, but made the whole building burn. Flashback. Years ago, deep beneath old Earth, a massive steel vault buried under oceans of rock. Inside it, black servers buzzed gently. Holograms floated, schematics, weapons, AI personalities, quantum code, time field disruptions, all locked away, untouched, until the colony fell. Then, one by one, the doors opened. A team of 6 walked through the archive. They didn't steal. They studied, learned, grew. They built systems the Council had banned. Systems no one else dared to try. They never said a word to the outside galaxy, until now. Back in Council space, ships began acting strange. Navigation routes twisted, leading freighters into dead zones. Military patrols vanished from scanners, only to reappear hours later, trapped in endless loops across star systems. A single freighter captain recorded the moment his ship's AI shut down mid-flight. It said one word, he told a trembling Council tech. What word? Hello. And then came the first fire. A cruiser-class Council ship, the Vorthan's Pride, launched on patrol along the eastern expanse. It had top-tier encryption, triple, firewalls, and onboard AI armor developed by 5 Council species. It never made it past orbit. No enemy approached. No weapon touched it. The crew's final transmission was static, screaming. Then nothing. The explosion came from inside. Its navigation, core overloaded. Its own systems turned against itself. Its shields folded inward. Its engines ignited before shutoff. 1,200 lives lost. The wreckage floated in orbit, still sparking. Emergency drones flew in to investigate, on the side of the shattered. Command deck scorched into metal, a message blinked. Painted not with fire but with light pulses embedded in the code of the hull. We see you, and we remember. Then the wreck went dark, and across the galaxy, the timer kept ticking. A strange signal pulsed through every major comm station in the galaxy. At first it was ignored. Just static, faint noise coming from the edge of nowhere. But then it cleared. The voice was human, calm, strong, full of something ancient, loss, grief, and something deeper. Power. You stole our planets. You erased our names, but you forgot one thing. We write our own ending. No one recognized her face. She was not a soldier, not a leader. She wore no uniform, only a gray jacket with the faded symbol of an old Earth colony, one that had been wiped out 30 years ago. "My name is Ayla Varin," she said. "My father died in the Dustfall massacre. You called it a security sweep. You called him collateral. But to me, he was everything." Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. "I was 6. I remember hiding under the metal floor while your machines tore through our home. I heard your drones speak in your perfect logic. This area is unfit for habitation. This resistance is inefficient. You didn't see me then. You didn't care." The council chambers were silent. All systems had frozen to play the broadcast. They couldn't turn it off. Every planet, every ship, every screen showed her face. "I wandered through ruins, alone. I grew up with ghosts, and I promised them one thing: our story wouldn't end in silence." Behind her in the video, stars shimmered. No background music, no signal distortion, just her and the dark. "Now you ask why we are here, why your systems are dying, why your planets flicker in fear." She leaned forward. "You gave us your answer long ago. And now, we're giving it back." The screen went black. The signal cut. But no one moved. On one council moon, a child watching from a school station began to cry. Not because she was scared, but because of the sadness in the woman's voice. A sadness that felt too heavy for one person. In the main council chamber, emergency signals flashed. The human fleet had split. 3 massive arms, each forming a wave, moved into 3 different sectors. Councillor Dreth stood frozen, eyes locked on the glowing map of the galaxy. "They're dividing their force," he whispered. "Why?" Alvin Drow, who had returned to the room after weeks of hiding, spoke without looking away from the stars. "Not to fight more, to speak louder." Meanwhile, deep in Council Command, Admiral Crass barked orders. "Prepare shields! Launch recon fleets to all sectors! Track every ship!" But before they could finish, the first report came in. Planet Varine, the heart of the Zarkon Coalition, reported strange lights above its skies. No ships, no weapons. Just a glow, soft and silver, like clouds made of light. Then silence. No comms, no energy, no orbiting satellites. Dead. Next, Yentha Prime, capital of the Taran Empire. Same thing. Lights. Then dark. Then Zautir, a council world untouched. By war for 500 years, lost all power. Entire cities frozen. Machines locked mid-motion. Even the stars above it seemed dim. 3 planets. 3 lights. 3 silences. Every report ended the same way. No screams, no explosions. Just dark. Councillor Raal's voice shook. "This isn't war, it's a message." And deep in the void, Earth's fleet held its position. It didn't invade. It didn't speak. It didn't have to. It had already said everything. And somewhere in the darkness, Ayla Varin stood at the edge of a ship, watching the stars fade behind her. She whispered, not to the council, but to the memory of her father. They didn't listen when we asked, so now we make them hear. In the center of the galaxy, the Council of Allied Worlds had never been more silent. The Great Chamber, once echoing with debate and pride, now felt like a cold tomb. Delegates sat stiff, nervous, eyes darted toward screens, fingers trembled over comms. The air was heavy with fear. A chime broke the silence. Councillor Tyrex of the Yllari stood slowly. His scaled face was pale, his eyes sunken. Without waiting for permission, he activated the speaker crystal at his desk. "The Yllari Empire surrenders," he said. Gasps spread like a wave. "We will withdraw from council operations. We will deactivate all defense systems. We ask for mercy." "No!" Councillor Dreth shouted. "You can't! This is betrayal!" Tyrex looked at him with sadness. This is survival. The chamber exploded in shouting. Translations collided in the air, a dozen languages screaming at once. But above the chaos, Counselor Royal stood and raised his hand. Why? Why surrender now? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Tyrex answered with pain in his voice. Because we knew, years ago, and we did nothing. The chamber went quiet again. Tyrex continued. 42 years ago, during the first Earth Treaty Review, our scientists found something strange. We were studying human emotion patterns. Fear, anger, love. But there was one emotion we didn't understand. It wasn't hate. It was something else. Focused. Cold. Quiet. He paused. Humans don't attack when they hate. They attack when they're broken. And when they are broken, they do not scream. They simply respond. A flashback played on a side screen. Secret footage, never released to the public. A small meeting between Yalari and Zarkon leaders. A Yalari advisor stands, shaking. We must not push them. Not like this, he says. Humans are weak, a Zarkon general replies. They beg too much. They will not bite. You're wrong, the advisor warns. We are putting their back to the wall. When a cornered human stops talking, that is when the danger begins. But no one listened then. Now, it was too late. In the present, Counselor Raal sat with his hands shaking. The galaxy they ruled was falling apart. We need to talk to them, someone said. We need a new treaty, something fair this time. Others nodded. The idea of negotiation spread quickly like fire on dry leaves. Send an ambassador, open a channel, let them speak. But before they could act, the main screen in the chamber flickered. Lights dimmed, air systems slowed. The entire station shook gently. A voice played across all channels, deep and calm, a human voice. You negotiated with greed, now negotiate with silence. It was not angry, not cruel, just empty. The chamber lights returned, but no one spoke. Moments. Later, a direct message arrived from Earth's lead ship, a live feed. Everyone leaned forward, waiting, hoping for a sign of peace. Commander Ran appeared, alone, seated in a quiet room with stars behind him. He stared into the camera for a moment before speaking. This war was not our choice, he said. We came here because you erased us. You left us nothing. You called it order. We called it loss. His eyes were hard, but his voice was steady. You ask for terms. We have one. He leaned forward. One of you pays. The chamber froze. Not all. Just one. One species. One council member. One empire. Take responsibility. Take punishment. Or we continue. The message ended. No further explanation. Chaos followed. What does that mean? Do they want a trial? A sacrifice? Which of us? How do we decide? Counselor Dreth stood, furious. We will not play this game. They cannot divide us like this. But the division had already begun. Some species, those with fewer sins, started stepping back. Others blamed each other. You led the military raids. You took their resources. We just watched. In the background, more news arrived. 3. More council planets had gone dark. No deaths, no battles, just total system failure. No light, no sound, just darkness. Counselor Royal looked at the map and saw it clearly now. The humans weren't wiping them out. They were removing pieces, one by one, and now they were offering a choice. Pay the price, or lose everything. Outside the chamber, across every world, across ships and stations and colonies, civilians watched in fear. People asked questions the council had no answer to. Why did they corner humanity? Why didn't they stop when there was still time? Why did they lie to the galaxy? And above them, in the quiet of space, Earth's fleet stood like a wall of judgment, silent, waiting, listening. The council chamber had become a battlefield of words and fear. No weapons, no screams, just quiet panic and desperate calculation. The message from the humans still echoed in every delegate's mind. One of you pays. Now, the question that ruled every conversation was simple. Who? The room was filled with silence, then noise, then silence again. Species accused each other. Old allies became enemies. Friendships broke in whispers. "We didn't lead the decision," one delegate shouted. "You enforced it," another snapped. "It was years ago." "Then maybe the one who started." It all should answer. All eyes turned toward a figure sitting in the center row. Tall, silver-skinned, wrapped in dark robes. Chairman Velgar. He was once the most powerful voice in the galaxy, the leader of the Resource Committee, the one who signed the Earth ban, the one who declared humans unstable, dangerous, and unsuitable for intergalactic partnership. Velgar didn't speak. He simply stared at the screen in front of him, where a list of recent events scrolled. In red, 6 planets, gone dark, 2 fleets, vanished, hundreds of satellites, shut down. And one message, choose. Flashback, 30 years ago. Velgar stood proudly in front of a giant map of Earth's system. Other leaders clapped. He smiled as he signed the order. "This is not war," he had said. "It is balance. Emotion must not guide power." Someone had warned him. A young assistant, nervous and shaking. "Chairman, the humans are not the same as others. They feel deeper. They remember longer." Velgar laughed. "They are fire, and fire burns itself out." He had no fear then. Now, in the present, he was alone. In the emergency chamber, a private council was held. No broadcasts, no records, only 10 voices. "We give them Velgar," one counselor said. "It is justice." "He will never agree," another whispered. "Then we don't ask." But Velgar surprised them all. "I'll go," he said. "No more delay, no more lies." He asked for one thing, his homeworld to be left alone. He was taken to a secure transmission room, alone, a single chair, a small desk, one glowing screen. He activated the call. After a long pause, the image of Commander Ron appeared. He looked older than before, worn, like someone who had seen too much silence. Ron didn't speak first. Velgar did. "What do you want from me?" Ron didn't answer right away. Then he said quietly, "We wanted to be equals. You chose to be gods." Velgar lowered his eyes. "I thought we were protecting peace." "You were protecting your power," Ryan said. "And now you fear what we've become. But we only became this because of you." There was a long silence between them. A silence filled with memories, unspoken pain, and something close to regret. Velgar said one final thing. "If I go, will it be enough?" Ron didn't nod, didn't smile, just said, "It will begin something better." And then the screen went black. That night, Velgar disappeared. No ship logs, no reports, no records. His homeworld was left untouched. Its systems came back online. Its people were unharmed. The human fleet began to move away from the planet's orbit. Inside the council chamber, no one spoke for a full hour. For the first time in weeks, no new attacks came. No new systems failed. It was as if the galaxy had taken a breath. Some called it mercy. Others called it strategy. No one called it justice. Chairman Velgar had been the mind behind the first great betrayal of Earth. Now, he was gone. And the humans were retreating. Not in defeat, but in message. They had asked for one. They had taken only one. And then, they walked away. The question remained, why? What would come next? No one in the council had the answer. But in deep space, aboard the lead Earth ship, Commander Ron stood alone, watching the stars spin across the black. Beside him, Isla Varin, the woman who once spoke from deep space, stood in silence. Ron didn't look at her. He simply said, "We bought a moment." She nodded. That's all we ever wanted. In the far corner of the ship, an old AI recorded the event. Its log read, "Day 213, contact complete. Judgment accepted. Mission paused." Paused. Not ended. Because even in peace, there was still silence. And silence, as the galaxy now knew, was not always safe. The council chamber was still. No alarms, no shouting, no flickering red lights or urgent messages, just a long, heavy silence that no one dared to break. The war hadn't come. No fleets clashed, no planets burned, no bodies floated in the dark. But somehow, the council had still lost. Not in numbers, not in blood. They lost control, and in the galaxy, control was everything. The humans had pulled back days ago. Their ships vanished into the black. Not a single message left behind. Not a word. Not a threat. Just silence. The kind of silence that felt louder than war. No one understood what the humans had done. What their goal was. Why they stopped. Every military mind tried to guess. Every AI ran simulations. Every diplomat sent quiet signals, hoping for response. Nothing. Silence now meant danger. Silence was the new fear. Some planets held celebrations. "It's over," they said. "We're safe." But no one truly believed it, because humans never explained anything, and that made the silence worse. In the days that followed, strange things happened. A planet known for its technology woke to find all its computers rebooted, with no data lost, no systems harmed. Just one new folder added on every terminal. It was empty, except for a single line of text. "You were close, B." Better. On another world, a military training base found all their weapons recalibrated, improved in design, but permanently locked at non-lethal settings. And on a neutral colony, an old war monument was replaced overnight. No one saw it happen. In its place stood a smooth black stone with a single engraving. "Peace is earned, not inherited." The council gathered again. They didn't sit in rows this time. They didn't argue. No vote was called. They just stood together, quiet, confused, shaken. Someone whispered, "Did we win?" Another answered, "I don't think this was a game." In deep space, far from council eyes, something else was happening. A moon, small and forgotten, sat at the edge of a fading star. Its surface was gray and cold. No one had touched it in centuries. But now, a tiny human ship landed gently on its surface. A small group of children stepped out. They wore simple suits, marked only with the Earth flag. One of them, a girl named Lyra, carried something wrapped in cloth. She walked away from the others, her boots crunching the dust. When she reached the highest rock, she knelt and unwrapped. Her hand, inside was a flag, not a weapon, not a message, just a flag. She pressed it gently into the stone. Not with anger, not with pride, just quiet purpose. "I want them to know we came here," she said softly. "And we didn't come for war." Behind her, another child asked, "Will they see it?" Lyra looked up at the stars. "If they're watching, they will." Far above, satellites caught the image. The council watched in silence as the footage reached them. No invasion, no demand. Just a child, planting a flag. It broke something inside them. Later that night, something else happened. Across hundreds of star systems, stargazers noticed something strange. A new pattern in the sky. At first, no one believed it. But as telescopes aligned and scans confirmed positions, the truth became clear. Dozens of small satellites. All repositioned, perfectly placed. Together, they formed a shape. A massive symbol glowing faintly across the dark, one too large to ignore. It was the ancient Earth symbol for home, a circle, a line, a mark in the center, simple, unmistakable, terrifying, hopeful. The Last signal came minutes later. It was broadcast across every known frequency. No sound, just one image. The human symbol hung above a black screen, and under it, in bold white letters, "We didn't want war, but you chose how we'd end the game." Then the message vanished, just like the humans. Back in the council chamber, no one spoke. One delegate trembled slightly, another wept. Someone tried to speak, but their voice broke, and in the far corner, the AI counselor blinked. "I believe," it said quietly, "we were never playing the same game." Some called it a warning, others called it forgiveness. But no one could deny the truth anymore. Humanity hadn't returned to destroy the galaxy. They had returned to rewrite the rules, not with weapons, but with silence, with whispers, with reminders. They had shown the galaxy that survival wasn't strength. Survival was choice, and sometimes the strongest choice was not to fire at all. Years passed. Peace held. Not because of laws, not because of treaties, but because of the memory. Because every species, every leader, every planet now feared the quiet more than the chaos. And across every world, every ship, every moon, if someone looked up at just the right time, they'd see it. The symbol, watching, still there, still glowing, still reminding them that humanity had smiled once, and it was the last smile they ever wanted to give.